In this video, I'm going to teach you the big mistakes that can kill your score. Let's dive into it. There are 5 specific big mistakes that you're likely making, and you just took the baseline exam. So I want you to recognize if these hit home for you. Maybe one, maybe multiple. Now, I want you to look really hard at yourself. Think about how you solve questions. And as you go through it, if you find one, if you find multiple, if you find 5, I do not want you to be like, oh no, I'm terrible, all that stuff. I really want you to be like this lady and be like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever. I just found those things, because these mistakes are relatively easy to engineer out, and they're easy ways to improve your score. So if you have them, you're better for it, because we can remove them, dude. That is great. All right, so question solving mistake number 1 is called speed and crash. Okay, if you're a speeder and a crasher, this is what you do. You read the question at 1,000 miles per hour, or whatever the Canadians got, kilometer per hour, whatever it is. You race through the answers, reading the question, reading the answer, and you frantically crash at one answer because you're like, I'm at the bottom, I gotta pick something, bang, I'll crash into one of the answers, okay? Now, often when you do this, you get it wrong. You didn't understand anything about the question, you feel the pressure. If you're solving it in a coaching call, you're in front of people and you feel terrible about it, and you don't even know why you got it wrong. That's the worst thing. You crashed into a pole and you don't know how you got there, okay? So if you're a speeder and a crasher, we can slow that on down, all right? We're gonna talk about how we do it as we walk through the process. Let's just talk about the mistakes. Now, mistake number 2 is called robot reading. So a lot of people go the opposite side. They're not the speeders, they're the slowers, all right? So they go, I'm gonna read it slow, I wanna be methodical, I wanna get through it, but they don't focus on understanding, they just focus on slowing down, okay? Now, people like this often have to reread and reread and reread because they're trying to, like, what did I read? What happened? What's going on? They waste a ton of time. If you find yourself wasting a ton of time, the thing is, you might get it right, and that's good, right? But by reading it over and over and over, you could spend that time on other questions. And the exam is going to have some humdinger of questions and some that aren't that bad. So we got to be judicious about how we spend our time. So not too fast, not too slow. Go just right, like Goldilocks, okay? 3, lugging around baggage. Now, I find myself making this, okay? You get a question wrong. You miss it. It's wrong. When we solve questions together, you're going to get that feedback loop. Bang, you missed it. You're going to be like, I thought this was right. Then you start to get upset, you get dejected, you start to burn down. You let your emotions take over, and you realize you're just kind of spinning out of control, and you miss more questions that you actually know the content on. Now, it's okay when you miss questions that you just didn't know. I mean, how would you know, right? But it really gets in your brain when you start missing questions. You're like, dude, I know that stuff. And then the cycle gets worse and worse and worse. So we want to treat each question like it's its own entity. Don't walk into another question and bring the baggage. Leave that baggage outside. Now, number 4, leave yourself outside. We want to leave the baggage outside. We do not want to leave you outside. You got to come in the room, okay? So a lot of times when you're a leave yourself outside type of person, you try to answer or talk through things that you think people want you to say, or what PMI wants. Like, oh, this is a PMI answer, or this is what PMI wants me to say, right? And in doing that, you really don't have any conviction on your answer. You're just trying to, like, walk through the paces. Now, we already watched way early on the first day. We watched Alejandra, and she said they're not trying to trick you, and they're really trying to test competency. So you're competent, you got a logic, use it, all right? Now, when you leave yourself outside, you start to doubt everything. This exam doesn't make any sense, anything like that. And you lose your chance. You steal it from yourself. You lose your chance to learn. And you miss a lot of questions, which ain't fun to begin with. So let's not do that. Now, the last one is you see ghost words, okay? So what ghost words are is you don't focus on the facts given. You make wild, crazy assumptions. You spend lots of times on things could happen or might happen or should have happened or whatever happened, all these potentialities that weren't there. You fail to see relatively the obvious stuff because you're chasing all these fantasy ghosts, and yet again, you missed the question. It's pretty bad. So what we want to do is we want to say, hey, let's just think about it. And as you go through the questions and go through more coaching calls and all the questions, we got tons of questions, y'all. Tons of them. You got to say, am I a speeder and a crasher? Am I a robot reader? Like, am I lugging around all that baggage? Am I leaving myself outside? Or am I seeing ghost words? Like, are any of those happening? If they are, yet again, I want you to see as mistakes as opportunities. That's like really good because these are tweaky ways that you can get better. So recognize these in yourself. Recognize your mistakes. Own them. Be vulnerable. Share them. Hey, I'm a speed reader, dude. I want to share. Help me slow down and do those things. Reflect on why it's occurring. Maybe from the speed side of it, you're just really engaged. Maybe you're coffeeed up, okay? Maybe that's one thing you need to lower down on. But maybe it's like you're just so energetic that you want to get the answer and you're worried that you're going to run out of time and stuff. Don't worry. We're going to build that speed in time. So think through what's causing or driving, what the roots are, right? And try to tweak your approach. Test it out and realize it's not going to be a light switch on off. You're going to have to ease yourself into it. And if these patterns exist, you're probably going to start making them again. So you got to constantly just build yourself up, but be happy with the progress because these are great ways to improve. So focus on those 5 little mistakes, find them in yourself. And now we're going to teach you that everything you heard about the PMP exam is wrong. I'm really attacking these objections and these things this is all these things that they say about PMP exam questions. I want to remove those so you can focus on what really matters, which is the content of the question. So I'll see you over there. Let's enjoy the video.